Amen. So we tied into that. So right now across the country at 12 noon, they're all kicking off. In Florida, we have them going on in Stuart, Inverness, Orlando, trying to remember the other ones. Oh, Sarasota, as well as St. Augustine. And then Jacksonville will be at the landing this Saturday. So we have a lot going on. But before we continue, I would like to introduce a wonderful man, Pastor Ron Stafford, who is going to come and do the invocation.
The scripture allows us to know no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your loving kindness for this wonderful day. We thank you, O God, and ask that you allow your grace and your mercy to cover our president, give him the wisdom and knowledge to bless us and to allow those who are hungry and those who are jobless to receive the blessings that you have for them. We ask that you bless this day, bless the activities, and allow your grace and mercy and your loving kindness to shine above all, be a great blessing in this day for all of us. Let us all say amen. Amen.
Without starting it with the pledge. So we are going to ask Tom Boscovich to come up, please. He is a war hero from the Vietnam War.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How many singers do we have out there? Okay, I need your voices. My daughter Savannah Scherf is going to lead us in. Yes, you are. Okay, she wants me to help her. So we're all going to help her. Ready? Please join me in singing the national anthem. Okay, so we have a little fun going on today. We're going to talk about a couple of things, but I did want to just mention the Spirit of America again that we talked about is going on across the country. So if you can get to one on Saturday, please do. And it should be a fun event. We have 4 speakers coming up, and I'm going to start as one of those speakers. It's kind of the reason that we kind of all talk about why Donald Trump, why this guy, and my reason is simple. As soon as he said he was going to he decided to run for the primaries, I said, that guy's going to win. And my daughter said, Mom. You know what it was for me is the fact that he looked around on all the shows and he said, when he was asked about if he won, what would he be like as a president? And he said, I would gather the greatest minds to do their job in their specific field to run this country. I don't profess to know it all, and I think that's the true sign of a leader. And that is what he is doing. Am I correct or what? I'm so impressed with what he's been able to do so far, and we're going to have some speakers talk more specifically about that. But I just wanted to mention that. And we do have a little trifecta today going on. I don't see them yet, but we're supposed to have some protesters from the Progressives group. Oh, they're up there. Hello! Hello! Oh, they're keeping their distance. How nice of them. But the trifecta is that we also have a group protesting the protesters, we are told. So it doesn't get much better than that. So seriously, this is great that you're all here today. And it is quite windy. It cracks me up that political scientists are still in shock. Half the country is still in shock. The media is still in shock of how President Trump became President Trump. They need to get over it, as we said. But how did, get over it? But when you look back on that, Hillary Clinton had everything going for her, besides she was Hillary Clinton. But the fact that she had 10 times more staff, paid staff, the Trump campaign, I can tell you, we were disorganized. We didn't have nearly the offices. We had one office to every 2.1 that the Clintons had. He didn't have the budget. He spent his own money. For every 4 TV ads that Clinton put on, he did one. And it amazes me that he came from behind and still won. When you think about the odds that were against him. So when you look at that, there's no question that he can handle all that he's been given in just 5-6 weeks in the White House. He's been up against everybody, the globalist elites, the Obama shadow government, the mainstream media, the academia nuts. I apologize if there's anyone in the audience that is in academia, but the crazed liberals. Look at what we've got too with the retailers. Have you heard the latest about Nordstrom? I mean, we've got Starbucks, Nordstrom's, Target. The list goes on and on. So you know what I say? We need to boycott these businesses. We need to stop buying Savannah shirt, a Starbucks, latte, whatever it is. You've got to stop going into Target and stop going into Nordstrom. I don't care how cute their shoes are at Nordstrom's rack. We've got to make a difference. And look what's happening to the media. New York Times and Washington Post, they're already dropping in readership and profit. That's the power of Trump supporters, folks. And that's half the country, and it's going to grow to even more. I'm not worried about the protesters over there because they're a small minority. We were the silent minority. We're the majority now. We're not silent anymore. We're not silent. We, praise God, is right. President Trump is going to do so many wonderful things. He's already done so many wonderful things. But just to talk briefly about what he has accomplished, I love the fact that he is now taking on Obamacare, to repeal Obamacare. He is taking on limits that Congress will be able to serve. How fun is that? There's just so many things. He really meant it when he said, drain the swamp. Right? And he was right about that. He's taking on toxic vaccines. he's doing so many things already. He's working on sex trafficking and human trafficking and drug trafficking. Who does that in the first month? I mean, he never sleeps. He keeps going. So we have a president that is a businessman. He's a worker. He's a doer. Unlike all the politicians before him, we have somebody that actually knows how to get things accomplished. And he will. He will. I believe it in my heart. Now on immigration was the number one, when polled, number one issue for Floridians. Would you say that's about right? The fact that he put out his executive order quite quickly, and maybe not the fanciest way, maybe there were some hiccups, sure, he's going to make mistakes. But what was in that executive order was exactly right on. We have got to control the borders. I'm sorry, but the wall will go up. But most importantly, look at illegal immigrants in this country. Criminal, illegal immigrants. We're not bad people. And if they were over here, where's that man holding up the Russian sign? These are really not bad people. We love our country. We are compassionate for people. But it's wrong when we let illegal immigrants come into this country and it costs us, taxpayers, billions of dollars for health care and welfare for them. And then they commit crimes. And guess what? Just like ICE Director Soldano said, well, we can't keep and hold them because A, our detention centers are overcrowded, and B, their countries don't want them back. Oh, okay, so that means we put them back into society to rape and rob and murder our citizens. So immigration to me is one of the most important policies and issues that he is going to be working on, and I have no doubt that we will win that war, if you will. And sanctuary cities, I have to add, I wasn't able to finish. Those of you that saw Fox News Town Hall, I didn't know what she was going to ask us. But sanctuary cities, if you don't know, they're a very big problem, and they're growing across the country. How can you even start with a label to a city or a domain that starts with the fact, we do not want to cooperate with federal immigration authorities? That's what they're all about. That's all it is. They don't want to work. Throw them in jail, exactly. But you can't have a country that is in constant battle and fighting our own laws. We have a constitution, and we should be following our own laws. These people that don't want to, then I'm sorry, they need to move. They need to move. This movement is much bigger than that. Look at Brexit. Thank God they finally saw the light. Brexit will be next. France is going to be next. It's a movement, people. With Trump's election, Brexit, and all that's going on, we will not be silent anymore. Which means Congressional District 4. So he's a big wig, he likes to think. We do too. And he's going to come and speak to us right now about some accomplishments that our dear president has done already. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for coming. You've got our back and we've got your back. I just want to say a word about this last election in St. Johns County. We're a key county in putting Trump over the top. Friday, the Dow Jones closed at an all-time record high, 20,800. President Trump promised to create jobs, and he's doing it already. He has created 1 million jobs for example. Carrier, Ford, SoftBank, U.S. Steel, Alibaba, and now Intel are building factories here. President Trump signed a resolution overturning Obama's unconstitutional rules by the government of Interior that would harm minors and save a lot of mining jobs. Virginia was going to lose every last mining job. And then he repealed Obama's very strange order to all schools that the bathrooms and the lockers be open to anybody on a given day. I'm going to talk a little bit about John Lewis and what he's done. Very good. He's signed an executive order to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a job killer. The presidential memorandum approved the Keystone Pipeline. Declared the Dakota Access Pipeline to go. These are huge jobs that are going to bring a lot of money and work to this country. He signed resolutions that are going to stop the halt of the coal mine closures, the illegal extraction. He's already saved taxpayer money on our fighter program. They have $700 million in that. Secretary of Defense DeMattis, Mad Dog DeMattis, has ordered a cost-cutting review of Boeing's next generation Air Force. And by the way, our Air Force is flying planes that are older than I am, and that is old. We have allowed our military to fall into disrepair at exactly the time when we have a global threat from North Korea, from China, from Iran, from Russia, and it's going to stop. An order has already gone out to start construction of the wall and enforcement. And we are enforcing rules that have been unenforced for the last 8 years. We had an out of control regulatory system that was saying if you had a puddle on your farm, that was a national waterway, and you couldn't farm it. I mean, insane rules. Billions of new regulations which are being rolled back as we sit here and speak. Most businesses say that these regulatory burdens were the number one thing, but that's really not all. We're reducing regulatory burdens, but within the next 200 days, we will have a tax package that will roll back corporate rates, personal rates, and repatriate trillions of dollars that are overseas. And we're doing this without all the cabinet members in place. When Obama was president, he had his entire cabinet within the first 5 days. These Democrats are slow-walking the nominees and being deliberately obstructionist. But the thing that gets me the most excited about all of this is we are going to have Neil Gorsuch. Legislating from the bench, and we're going to have originalist interpretations of the law and the Constitution. There are still 5 or 6 positions that remain unfilled that need to get filled. So right now I want to give a shout out to the veterans. So all you veterans, please stand up. All veterans stand up. Thank you for your service. God bless you. This is a segue to our next speaker. A man who, it turns out in conversations, his family comes from the same tiny little town in the middle of Europe that mine did. And it was an amazing coincidence. But while I was on a destroyer in the North Atlantic with good chow and relatively safe and sound, my next speaker, Tom Washkowitz, was in the jungles of Laos and Vietnam, and in probably the most dangerous unit, the Studies and Observation Group, which I promise you is not a librarian organization, as part of the Green Berets. He was decorated with the Vietnam Cross of Gallantry and the Bronze Stars with a V for Valor. So, next speaker, let's hear it for Tom Washkowitz.
Kosice is a great place, isn't it? Thank you all very much. I'd like to give a shout out, first of all, to a couple of my Green Beret buddies, Bill Barclay, who was a SOG commando team leader in Laos, and Steve Musket, who Green Beret in Afghanistan. Thanks for coming, guys. A lot of the other veterans I've met today are pararescue guys, and it's good to have you here. Bill had mentioned that I had served as a Special Operations, Special Forces officer, serving in classified combat missions. There's an organization called the Special Operations Association that's made up of over 2,000 ex-Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and Air Commandos. I had the privilege to be elected as a member of the board of directors of that organization, and also served as an executive director of that group in the past. Consequently, I was in touch with hundreds of those special operators right before the election. And I can tell you that they were just about unanimously in support of Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, of the hundreds that I spoke to, there were only two who weren't. And one was a trial lawyer, and the other one works for Hollywood in California. So that's to be expected, right? But the reason they worked so hard for Donald Trump and that they wanted him to be our president is because they knew of the terrible evil that there is out there in this world. These radical Islamists who want to kill you. They want to kill your children. They want to kill your grandchildren. They're doing everything they can to come here. And our military and our law enforcement is what stands in the way. That is why they work so hard to get Donald Trump elected. They knew how much our military had been deteriorating. As Bill Korach said, our Marine Corps and Navy aircraft, 50% of them are grounded because they don't have parts and pilots. We only have 3 combat divisions who have 100% readiness. Our naval fleet is at its lowest strength in the last 70 years, I believe, though. And it's just horrible what has happened. And even more so, those heroes that we have fighting for us overseas, they are restrained by ridiculous rules of engagement that are starting to change right now as we speak. Now, under the last administration, they had their priorities mixed up. They really did. Ash Carter, you know, he's a Harvard intellectual, one of those eggheads with no military experience. His priorities were social engineering, it seemed. While our special operators, who depend on range firing their weapons to be at the top of their skill set, to be able to defend themselves and defend their colleagues and accomplish their mission, they had their ammunition cut in their practices to save money on the budget. At the same time, Ash Carter instituted service-wide lactation seminars so our female soldiers would be able to breastfeed their babies. Now that's a nice thing, but you got to have priorities, and I'll guarantee you the new Secretary of Defense, General Mattis, 4-star Marine Corps general, one of the most renowned leaders in our time, he has his priorities straight. knows there's a terrible enemy out there that's out to kill us. He knows there's a terrible enemy that has executed thousands of people, that have beheaded people, that have burned people alive, that have trafficked in sex slaves and murdered other peoples of other religion. He knows what our priorities have to be. It's not lactation seminars, it's not breastfeeding, it's killing the enemy.
Yeah!
And that's what General Mattis is going to be overseeing with our military. As Donald Trump said, in the last 2 days, you're going to see a buildup of our military like you've never seen before. It's coming. It's about time. We're waiting for our national security depends upon it. Speaking of national security, under Obama, his national security advisor, Susan Rice, another intellectual egghead with no military experience, but she did have one superb skill set. Lying, that's right. That's right. When we had the Benghazi debacle, they trotted her out, and she lied to the media and the public for days, blaming Benghazi on an arcane video that had no effect whatsoever for what happened there. Speaking of which, I surely hope that Donald Trump releases the tapes between Hillary Clinton and Obama regarding Benghazi that Obama declared presidential privilege. We need justice in that situation. Instead, lock her up. You need to lock a lot of people up, I think. Instead of Susan Rice, thank God we have Lieutenant General McMaster's, an experienced combat leader, an intellectual, someone who knows national security and will give President Trump the best advice he can. Now, speaking of national security, we're not only talking about external threats, we're talking about internal threats also.
Yes.
And the Department of Homeland Security under John Jay was a disgrace. An inept lawyer whose only claim to fame was telling our Border Patrol and ICE agents not to enforce the law. Well, there's a different sheriff in town now. His name is General Kelly, a four-star Marine general, accomplished combat leader, a true patriot, a patriot whose own son, Marine Corps officer, was killed overseas fighting ISIS. He's given everything to his country, and he's going to give more. They immediately told the Border Patrol and the ICE agents to go ahead and enforce the law, and they've been doing so.
Yeah.
Again, I have friends and close relatives in law enforcement, and the morale before under John Jay was just horrible. The agents, the law enforcement, were getting to a point where they just weren't able to do their job. They are now. And we must recognize and realize that they need the support of our leaders. They need the support of our president. And right now, Donald Trump has indicated that he's going to hire 15,000 new agents, 10,000 ICE agents, 5,000 Border Patrol agents. And let me tell you what else he said. He said he's going to build a wall.
Yeah.
Now, let me just talk about that for a moment, because the press really doesn't cover that enough. You know, it's an easy, simplistic thing, build a wall. And then the snarky intellectual left says, well, if you build a 10-foot wall, I'll bring an 11-foot ladder, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not the case. When they talk about building a wall, and General Kelly knows this more so than anybody, as do my military buddies over there, when you establish a perimeter defense, you do it in multi-layers. You don't just build foxholes, you build a bunker with overhead cover. You don't only have concertina wire, you have layers of concertina wire. You have that booby trap, you have landmines planted, you have interlocking fires, and you have enough personnel on that perimeter to keep it secure. That's what we're talking about. That's what General Kelly knows. Layered defense, an in-depth layered defense. We're talking about building a wall in high crime areas, perhaps with a roadway in between and another wall, monitored by cameras, monitored with sensors, with extra patrol agents patrolling it, with overhead cover, with drones. It's a multi-layered defense in depth, and if anybody knows how to do that, General Kelly does. We have hope. We have General Mattis, General McMaster, General Kelly looking out for our safety and well-being. And we can thank our law enforcement, we can thank our military, and we can thank God that we have a new administration. God bless all of you. God bless the United States.
Wow, God bless Tom Waskovich. Woo! Yes, and all the military, thank you so much. Before I move to the next speaker, I think it's time for some chants.
Yeah.
We need to take them down over there. We're a little too quiet. So I'm going to introduce really quick the gentleman that did the original Lock Her Up sign. And he's going to come up and start that chant. We're going to get some going.
Yeah.
Folks, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm a first-time Republican, and I'm a first-time Florida delegate. So I went to Cleveland, and I get engaged 100%. So I had Kenco make me some signs up, and my boss said, "You're crazy. You're gonna go in that convention with that sign." And I said, "Well, I'm taking it in." So I waited 2 hours out in that long line, and I got the sign. And Secret Service, they saw it, they loved it, said go in. I was the only delegate they let take that sign in. So I'm sitting there for about an hour. I said, I'm not going to sit here in my suit for the next 5 days. Jeff Sessions gets up, and he's talking about how crooked Hillary was. I said, this is the time. I stood up on top of my chair from here to about 20 feet from the podium, and I held that sign, "Lock her up! Lock her up! Lock her up!" And I tell you what, Trump signed it, Jeff Sessions signed it. I've been offered a lot of money for the original sign, but I tell you, one of the reasons I did vote for Trump, out of the 17 candidates in the primary, I felt he was the only person that had, I hate to say this, but he had the balls to take on the Hillary machine.
Yeah.
I do not think any other candidate would have won this election, because Trump is what you see, what you hear is what you get.
He's not PC.
And he's the people's leader. He's not the leader for the establishment. He cares about America. Folks, he doesn't need the money.
No.
But he wants to make America safe again. And I got 9 grandkids and 3 great-grandkids, and I want my country, your country, safe again.
Yeah.
So God bless America, and lock her ass up.
Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up.
We could go on all day over there. You know it's true. You know. Okay, you all are awesome. All right, USA is right. Let's do that. USA! 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 By the way, that is where we live, folks. USA. All right, right now we have another speaker coming up. You ladies are wonderful. Thank you so much. I love that. I'm going to give a shout out. I was reminded because I had 6 pages of a speech and I just didn't go there because we had too many more important people to speak to you. But I did want to say that Rush Limbaugh did promote the rallies. So if you heard about, excuse me? Babies for Trump. Oh, we've got some babies for Trump. And we've got a young man here. He's also from Trump. Awesome. We've got a little bit of everybody going on. President Trump would be very proud right now. What we're going to do is we have another speaker, Eric West. You may have seen him also. Bill Korak and Eric and several of us were on the Fox News and event. And Eric is the secretary of the Republican Executive Committee, or GOP, for St. Johns County. But he was also a past chairman for Republican Party. And he's the publisher of a magazine for veterans, and I just forgot the name of it. Military. Deals USA. Everybody pick it up. Here is Eric West.
Thanks, Diane. Hey, we got a good turnout today. All right. I was worried we wouldn't have enough to cover them, but you all came through. Thank you. As Diane mentioned, not only am I former county chairman, I'm also the former chairman of the St. Augustine and the St. Johns County Tea Party. That's why I brought my Gadsden flag. This past year, I attended the convention in Cleveland. I was at the Jacksonville rally. I was at the St. Augustine rally, and it was awesome to be at those events. I knew something was going on because you could just feel the energy, and I hadn't felt anything like it since 2009 when we actually gathered right here on these grounds to kick off the first Tea Party rally here in St. Augustine.